Guys, look at this. I mean, what's going on here? It says the best evidence suggests antidepressants aren't effective. It says right here, they shouldn't be the first port to call. And then right here, look at this part where I'm touching it with the dots. Another important finding is that antidepressants are associated with an increased risk of suicidal self-thinking. So let's go right here. This is 12 recent teen school shooters under the psychiatric drugs. The first one, Xanax. The second one, anti-anxiety Valium. The third one is taking antidepressants before he killed. So the third one doesn't say the specific antidepressant. The fourth one is another antidepressant, which they state is trazodone. The fifth is another depression medication. The sixth, Prozac. We're going to remember Prozac. Shot and killed his grandparents. How do you kill your grandparents, man? Next one. Another depression medication that they don't state. Continues antidepressants, Celexa and Effexor. And then look, another Prozac. And then another antidepressant that they don't state what antidepressant it was. And then Eric Harris and Keybold, Luvox. And so far I know Luvox and Prozac are the same company. Then it goes to Ritalin. And then it goes to Prozac once again. So 3 or 4 of these didn't say. And then the 4 out of the 12 that did say, because there's 12, so 4 of them are made by the same company. And then we do not know so far who made the other antidepressants that were stated, Celexa and Effexor, and these other ones. And then these other ones that weren't even named could also be Prozac. If we go and look them up, they could end up being Prozac. But we know for a fact that 1/3 of just this is a small list. Look, this is only 1998. And, oh, wow, it actually goes to, so this is 10 years. So within 10 years, you've had 4 school shootings or massacres. Teen massacres within 10 years. 4 of them on the same drug. And we're going to still give them the drug, and I've never heard about this. Have you heard about this? No. And then look. So Luvox, this is the number 1. So this Columbine High School massacre was one of the most popular. It was because it was just so insane. They had brought bombs to the school. There's bombs. They had put bombs, these makeshift bombs, in the cafeteria, and thank God the bombs never went off, or it would have been a bombing. They had placed bombs throughout the school. All right, and they had went in with shotguns and trench coats and carbine rifles, right? And look, Luvox, Prozac, and then they're the most commonly prescribed drugs. Let's see this.
Of Ash and Eagle. It was sold to Prince Philip, Count of Flanders, who belonged to the notorious Saxe-Coburg and Gotha bloodline. This is the same bloodline who the current British royal family is descended from, all of whom can be traced back to Vlad the Impaler.
So this is a castle. This castle used to be owned, Chateau d'Amour, and Mraz, or however you say that shit, bro. And this is Vlad the Impaler. If you guys don't know who Vlad the Impaler is, he's basically who they get the rumors of Dracula from. He's basically who all the current day Dracula and have the Dracula's castle. Well, this guy had a castle, right? And his castle, to this day, you have a lot of neglected buildings, but this guy's building, they're putting money to make sure they're honoring this guy still to this day. It's a massive castle, right? And this guy was so cruel. He had the torture room below his bedroom. So all of his victims, he had a prison inside of this castle. He would have the torture room of his victims underneath. So while he slept at night, he would hear the victims screaming. And this guy would impale his victims on these spikes outside of castles as a warning to his enemies. So this guy was absolutely gruesome, horrifying, and his kids, who I'm sure grew up with this, and they had kids, and he had all of his wealth, and they loved him because look how rich he was. And then so they're saying the current royal family is descended from that, but they also built this castle originally, or they bought this castle, and then now they sold this castle to their next friends, because these people are murderers. They only have friends who are murderers.
Although the exact purchase date is unknown, the modern owners of the castle are an elite Belgian family known as the Solvay's.
So this Solvay family, back in the early 1800s, when everything was unregulated and shit was literally like mixing potions, because that was when it was alchemy and it was like different back then. We didn't have real, like, scientists were in a way different. It was a more primitive science. And what you could do is you could steal other people's inventions. And so this same Vlad the Impaler, rich, funded, so they helped fund this Solvay family to buy out certain pharmaceutical stuff. And now they've become literally the number one pharmaceutical company in the whole world. And by them helping participate in rituals, their ritualistic Vlad the Impaler friends who sold them the castle probably sold it to him for a good deal, probably hooked him up, probably gave him the castle and said, come on, join us. You're going to be the pharmaceutical sector of how we're going to poison the world. We need some smart poisoning scientists. And this is them right here.
The Solvays are one of the wealthiest
Hook them up with this castle.
Among many holdings, they own large pharmaceutical and chemical companies, both of which produce some products that have become household names. This includes the antidepressant drug Prozac.
Okay, there we go. So this Solvay family who bought this castle from Vlad the Impaler, fucking murderous family, and the whole shit going on there is making the Prozac drug that's just caused multiple, and I've only showed you a small list. If we go really look into it, it'd probably be 10 school shooters, 10 teen massacres in 10 years. We know it's 4, but we're going to look into it some more. And we know for sure it's a once a year probably type of thing. Every year we're having a murderer massacre from this family.
And the chemical fluoride.
Oh, fluoride. And guess what? Fluoride that's in your water, they're poisoning our water. Fluoride's in the water. And you start looking into chemtrails. I bet they're linked to chemtrails, but we don't know that for sure. But I'm sure their friends are linked to chemtrails. I'm sure they did research if they're doing research into water, into putting stuff into water, that we're drinking water and it'll alter our brain. And then they put in, they're giving our children these mind-altering drugs when it's like every children deals with depression. But what we're going to do is we're going to give them a mind-altering substance that will stop transmitting of signals in the brain. They're finding a chemical in nature, and they're making this chemical inhibit receptors passing through our brains. They're fucking with our brains.
The fluorine products they specialize in are for creating consumables, such as in toothpaste and drinking water.
Oh, they're toothpaste too. So all of our toothpaste, all of our drinking water, all of our kids, like all the people being prescribed antidepressants, it's the number one antidepressant. So everybody in the world who's getting prescribed antidepressants is from this.
As mentioned earlier in this video, the castle is better known by its English name, the Mothers of Darkness. This name was given to it by researchers who have claimed that a coven of elite witches, known as the Mothers of Darkness, convene here for a diaspora of rituals.
Okay, if this sounds insane, you have to Stanley Kubrick, who was a high up and got to witness some of these things. He made a whole movie about it. And then if you actually want to see a real photos that were actually released by this family, you could search the 1972 Rothschilds ball. And basically, the lead head Rothschild is wearing like a real head of a fucking moose, like an antler head, in a white dress, and the antler has diamond tears coming down it. This is the most satanic thing you could ever see. Imagine going to a massive fucking castle and seeing this fucking this shit. You would be scared out your brain.
They're claimed to be adept witches who come from extremely old satanic families, and they convene on certain dates and times to perform macabre rituals that would disgust and terrify anyone who dared to witness them. Although it's easy to demonize these women, we also have to think of how they got
here. So basically, sorry guys, my mind went blank. Those fucking witches, bro. So, if you want evidence to prove this is real, this is already going on in modern day Wicca and all these fake stuff that they'd like you to believe in Hollywood and all this stuff. And then we even have this billionaire who ended up getting murdered, and he exposed how they're doing ritualistic shit. Kanye West is currently saying all this stuff. You have to go and do all these rituals, and so this house is literally connected to child. Like there's newspaper articles back the early 1900s and stuff. This castle, there was a bunch of missing children, and people think it's related to all this. I don't know. You tell me what's going on with this Solvay family and the pharmaceuticals and all that. And yeah, guys, I'm not trying to make a video too long, but.